This week's Torah portion is called Akev. And Akev literally means because or as a result of. It says in the opening of our Torah portion, Akev tishma'un, as a result of, or because you listen to the laws, such and such will happen. Well, another meaning of the word Akev is heal. So in the context of this verse, with relation to the mitzvot, it has two implications as explained by the commentaries. One is that we should be careful even in observing the small minor commandments that we might be tempted to just trample over with our heels. Things that we is it so important if I do that? Does God really care if I do this one? And it's also referring to the period just before Mashiach comes, which is called the heels of Mashiach. So the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Chabad Rebbe, explains that it alludes to this time, just before Mashiach comes, when we will eventually listen to the laws and return to God. So what's the connection between these two interpretations? We like to think that, everything has a reason, nothing is by chance. So if there's two explanations on something, spiritually speaking, there should be a connection between them. Well, because we don't have the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, it affects our spiritual health, right? In temple times, people were inspired. Judaism was in a more accessible manner because you were so connected to God. I mean, you were there with the temple and miracles happening all the time. But when we're in exile, the struggle is real, as they say, right? To just sustain a basic observance of the mitzvahs, forget having any kind of spiritual appreciation of them, is very, very hard. However, we have a unique advantage in our quote-unquote uninspired Judaism that those people of the temple times did not have. Because we're the ones who demonstrate true commitment to Jewish values, because we're remaining connected to God despite the fact that we don't feel so easily inspired and connected to godliness through the temple service. We're just the heels, so to speak, of spiritual sensitivity. But that's our advantage. To serve God regardless of our feelings and inspiration. That's true commitment. So having reached the heels of Mashiach, we don't want to trample with our heels on even the minor commandments, because the distinction between a minor commandment and a major commandment is really only appreciated by someone who can understand the real worth and spirituality behind the mitzvot, like the Jews of the temple era. So our greatness is our emunah pshuta, our simple faith, our unsophisticated approach to Judaism, which connects us to the core of God's essence, which is simple, without any multiplicity. Shabbat Shalom.